Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to T-Box Talk, episode 42, Super Bowl and Waste Management Edition. Today on the podcast, going to go over the weekend, talk about the Waste Management / the Phoenix Open, which is happening this weekend, as well as the Super Bowl between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. I have no idea what Super Bowl number it is for some reason. I think it's 57. And then we're going to go into some what are we watching. And then we're going to close out the podcast with Josh recapping his brother's trip to Africa. He brought in some stuff to show and tell for us. Should be very cool. We're all excited to see what he brought in for us. Weekend roundup. Bagel, take us away.
Low-key weekend. Really not much to report on. Went back to Connecticut to see my parents on Saturday to deliver the good news, of which you two already know about. I guess I can make it public now to everyone out there. Marissa and I are getting married in May sometime. So, yeah, really awesome news. The wheels are in motion. So she dropped the marriage certificate form on my desk at home this morning. So I gotta get that filled out, and my ring's already here, so yeah, it's coming together. Big moves. We're really excited. Going to do a little civil ceremony and then have a big, not big gathering, probably a medium-sized gathering at the Malted Barley in Providence, because we're both soft pretzel fiends. So
Perfect.
as a lot of people are. So we figure that's a good good little middle ground for a low key little, what do you call it? Gathering. Reception.
Yeah. Do they have a private room that you can rent out?
They don't, but it's not going to be like a long gathering or anything. And like I said, like we're saving a lot of money, like not going the wedding route. I know I've expressed my feelings about cost of weddings and all that. So, even if we've got to rent out the whole place for, 2 hours or something like that, I'm sure it's in the realm of affordability.
You can probably do it on one of their off-hour days. Like if they close for lunch on a certain day, you can probably rent it out then.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to them. We'll figure it out. So, either way, that's a couple months down the road. So, yeah, went home to do that this weekend. It's obviously news I wanted to deliver in person. Got some Jersey Mike's, my favorite. A little bit of Vietnamese food. It's notable news for me, at least, because I don't get to eat out much. It's not in the budget. So it was a big deal. A lot of good fun, a lot of good eats. My dad and I actually finally fixed his record player, and he had like a backlog of records that he hadn't listened to. So I think we literally sat in front of the record player from 4 p.m. until 11 p.m. on Saturday night.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is it like a vinyl?
Yeah, it's a vinyl one. He finally got the receiver or whatever the hell he needed. We set the speakers up, and it worked. So we literally, I don't think we watched any TV at all on Saturday. We just sat there and listened to music and chatted. So it was a good weekend, really low key. And Sunday, I literally did nothing, played some Xbox until my controllers really shit the bed. So still got a broken controller. I'm a little beefed up about it, but it's all right.
And they're not cheap. Even like the regular Xbox controllers, like $70, I think, which is devastating.
I paid in 4 on mine last time I did it.
Always paying for. No, I'm just bummed because like I was wanting to get Marissa a controller so we could both play, but now I got to buy 2 new controllers, one for me and one for her. So
yeah,
devastating. Paying 12.
Paying as many as I can.
Let's just go into 10.
Paying 30-year fixed rate on a Xbox remote control.
It's worth it, man. That little box has come in quite handy over the last few months. So
It is crazy if you think about it. What if you did like a 30-year fixed term on like a fucking Xbox controller? Like, what would you be paying a month? I mean, you'd literally be paying. It's kind of crazy to think about like how much you
30. So 12 times 3 is 360 months. Times 10, 360 months divided by 60.
360 months divided by 60 is 6. So $6 a month for 30 years.
I tell you what,
that doesn't add up. That's not it.
Math is hard.
Yeah, that doesn't. There's no way. That
doesn't add up at all.
Yeah,
is it 6 cents?
It might be 6 cents. Wait, how? Whatever.
Either way, I gotta chill on the Klarna and Affirm payments because I went a little hard for about a year now, and like they completely stacked up. We're going on a ski trip in March, and I affirmed that, and that was like $2,700. And I ended up just saying fuck it and like paying 90% of it off because I didn't want to pay the interest on it. But
it's a future will.
It's problem. Like you never go into your Affirm or like Klarna app to see like what your current balance is, and I went in and looked at my Affirm confirm like after, Christmas and Father's Day and this vacation, and it was like $3,200. And I was like,
right.
Yeah, I'm going to pay this one off real quick.
That's like that situation when you set up a problem for a future version of you, and then it comes up and you're like,
I didn't prepare for this.
Yeah.
It's like when you have a 1099 and you don't pay taxes on it all year, and then you're like, I'm going to set aside $100 every paycheck, and then you don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
And then you get it with like a $5,000 tax bill at the end of the year.
Right.
That would be me. Speaking of video games, me and Josh had one of the most epic pub sessions of all time over the weekend. The Xbox Pub. I've mentioned it several times in the podcast. It's just getting drunk with the boys on Xbox Live. It's amazing.
I'm not really getting drunk. You know what
No,
I mean?
Josh did not partake. But
These fucking idiots will go on there and just solo in their fucking apartments, drink themselves into an oblivion until fucking 4 in the morning.
I don't blame him though, because like if it's a weekend and I'm gonna log like 4 hours, beers just disappear.
Yeah,
like
they
I have
do.
no idea what happens. I'll just turn around and the can's empty.
Right.
Because it's kind of just like one of those like subconscious, like every time you get a break in the game, you turn around, you take a drink, and then all of a sudden the beer's gone.
yeah, it's like every death like in Overwatch or something, just put one down really quick and like.
It's so funny because in the beginning of the night, Colucci, I don't know what happened in his kid's brain. Something changed, and all of a sudden he was like not bad at Rocket League.
Yeah.
And we were playing these big matches with a bunch of people early in the night, and he was fucking killing it. Guy was like lighting up the stage. Like I've never seen him play Rocket League like this before, and I've been playing with him since it came out. And little later in the night, I come back. All of a sudden, there's a little less people online, and the bets are getting a little bit higher. And we go into a match, a 2v2 match. Colucci's on my team, and that lightning fucking assassin in Rocket League was no more.
Oh yeah, you just get progressively worse and worse and worse until the point where you're just fucking screaming. And then
I was betting on the guy who was playing 4 hours prior to when I got back on, and it was. But actually, we ended up going even on all our bets after like 15 fucking trio matches.
We did 2 7-game series.
Oh my god!
We played so much.
It wasn't 7-game series. It was more like we were doing games of 3.
Oh, it was best 2 out of 3, and then we kept.
And we did like 5 of them.
Yeah.
We did like 5 of them.
We kept double or nothing to the point where, in the end of it, we ended up at 0-0 somehow, and then we were just
crazy.
We were all Rocket Leagued out.
It was the most fun I've had on Xbox in years.
Yeah.
That's good.
It was cheap, dude. It's like
It's cheap,
you
good,
know,
fun.
The other thing too, though, is that weekend it was like I think it was really cold.
Was that the really cold weekend?
Yeah, so I had a screenshot on my phone. I was in Quincy Friday night. It was -11 degrees with a wind chill of -37.
Which made me feel so much better about gaming too.
Guilt-free.
Guilt-free.
Guilt-free. I love that when it's like you get like a big fucking snowstorm and you're like, it's just like, let's
Nothing you
make
can do
some
about
drinks.
it.
Let's do some Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Unless
you're
the
stuck
power
inside
goes
and it
out.
feels so fucking good.
It does, because like if I was in Florida on a Friday night like that or a Saturday night and I was sitting inside my room playing video games as a single fucking, male roaming the lands, I would be really fucking upset with myself.
Yeah.
Because I need to be out mingling and
Yeah, you just have FOMO.
socializing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You have FOMO, and but you also like, I don't know, you want to push yourself to be out doing things like not playing video games. I like video games, but not on a Friday and Saturday. You can do that the whole fucking week. But when you get to Friday and Saturday night, unless you're like hungover or tired or whatever, like
Push yourself. Socialize.
Yeah, exactly.
And what's fun about what we were doing, we weren't even like playing online. We were just literally doing private matches. So like we had enough people to be doing private matches. So it was super fun. It was an amazing night.
You guys have a lot more Xbox friends than I do because
we have a
I have like
rotation.
0 people to play with. And of course, we're on at opposite times, you know?
We have a rotation of like 10 or 12 guys.
No, it's honestly grown from even there because we have like a core 10 or 12 guys, but then each person has like their own group of friends that like spreads out. So there's almost like, it's like a ring tier. So like there's the center circle and then there's like the extended circle and then even further,
It's like a Venn
circle.
diagram.
Yeah.
Right. yeah.
And it's awesome.
Some fall in the center, some are on the out.
Compounded growth in follower and community based.
And like everybody kind of knows each other, even in those extended groups. So now like we'll just play with each other, even if that person who introduced us to that group isn't even on. So it's like, so there's always people to play with. So it's a lot of fun.
I'll always love video games.
Yeah.
There's no one who will ever tell me different that video games are not fucking awesome. I personally am a more social video game player, whereas Colucci is more of an antisocial video game player.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
there's time for both.
There's time for both.
I go offline all the time just because, like, you know, the 3 or 4 Xbox.
Well, you've mentioned to us that you have basically 3 friends, and one of them fucking sends you an invite every time you get.
It's always
on.
at the worst time too. Like I'm like playing 15 more minutes of Xbox, then I'm getting off, and I get a party invite, and I'm like, now I feel like a dick.
Yeah,
that's what Josh does. Josh hops on like later on the night, and then it's like I was like about to get off, but then I'm like, fuck. Well, now like I'll play a few more games. Like,
play a few more games.
And then the next time I know it's like midnight. I'm like, fuck.
Final last words. I'll play a few more games.
Yeah.
That's been me since a kid. I remember when I was younger, my parents, like, I didn't give a fuck about doing anything. I wanted to play video games all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Gears of War, I would go down to my basement and delete 9 hours. And I'd come up. The thing is, I would go down there and my mom, do you ever get that when your parents would force you to not play video games for too long when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
That's disappeared, right? I
Yeah,
mean, there's no
100%.
way kids are subjected to that nowadays.
Oh, yeah. I would
100%
get bangs on the basement door at like
yes, Will.
7:30 or 8 p.m. at night. Like, we're going to bed. Like, get off Xbox.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, sure. And I'd come up the stairs and I'd sneak back down and play till like 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I think back to that and I'm like, what was their problem? You know, I was just playing video games.
I think the problem was that I would never get out of bed at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I was getting up early in the morning to get a full day of video games in. Like, and then I think it's like they look at it and they're like, they want your parents innately want you to be social.
Well, there's always like the school night excuse for parents too, like can't have a sleepover, can't stay up late.
Yeah.
Like, so it was always like it's a school night, like you're done playing at 8 o'clock.
Because back then we weren't doing as much of
Xbox Live. No.
Well, no,
really.
we were doing Xbox Live.
We
but
were.
we weren't doing like the way we do it now with like a bunch of friends who are online, like longtime friends. I was playing with random strangers across the fucking globe.
And you made friends with them.
I think I may have dated a couple. Like there was a girl I met in Gears of War, and I had this thing that went on for like 3.5 months. And it was actually, what did I say? It was like 3 years. And I was like, I grew up with this girl and we had a relationship over fucking Xbox.
Yeah.
But there's all those funny, there's like those funny / like really cute TikToks of like online gamers who meet for the first time and like they've been gaming together for like 10 plus years and they finally meet in person and like they're just like boys. It's like awesome.
Wait, the guys or the like girls to guys?
No, just like got a couple.
It's just like your best friend gaming partner that you've never met.
Yeah, dude. And I had a couple of those. I had a couple dudes who I fucking got online with, met, ran like was so into like so communicative with our whatever, and I actually fucking met them because that was right around the time that Facebook became a thing.
Yeah.
So then I got on Facebook. And I actually had like I could see them in real life. I would like saw their interests. Like one of the kids rode dirt bikes, and I like was into dirt bikes at the time. And I don't think we were. I think we had talked about getting together to meet, but we just never.
I remember
ended
him
up
living
doing
in
it,
New York because I kind of remembered this.
Yeah.
But yeah, gaming is just amazing, and it let me and Josh have a great weekend. But we'll move on from the weekend roundup. This weekend, 2 major sporting events going on. And we'll start with the first one. They're both taking place in Arizona, which is, I don't know how well, actually, I do know, because the Waste Management always takes time at this place, and the Super Bowl just happened to get scheduled now. But the Waste Management, which is actually not even called the Waste Management, it's called the Phoenix Open.
Lame.
Which didn't know that, unless they've changed it a couple years ago. But it is this weekend. Rory McIlroy is currently the odds-on favorite to win. I'm going to go with Max Homa at 22-1. But the Waste Management's awesome. It's the tournament where like all the young people go to, and it's like a party, and everybody goes to the 16th green, which is that par 3 with the massive crowds.
Yep.
And they like cheer during the shots. Like some golfers will tell them to get loud as they're teeing off. So it's freaking awesome. I've always wanted to go to the Waste Management, but apparently it is very, very expensive.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. Especially to get in the 16th. To get a seat in the 16th area or like a pass into there, It's like $1,500.
Wow, that is expensive. Not even the fucking The Open wasn't even that expensive.
Yeah, but the Open's not like the Waste Management is like a party. There was a fun fact in 2020, throughout 5 days I found this online. Throughout 5 days of the Waste Management, over 700,000 ticketed members walked the grounds at the Phoenix Open.
You know, the thing about those golf courses is like when you go there, usually you're on one hole. And your perspective is limited to what you can see. Mm-hmm. But when you think about the idea of how big 18 holes is, and you think about the number of people that are on each hole, it's fucking crazy the number of people that these things bring in. Yeah. I mean, it's like you would never expect it, but even like small tournaments can have like 300,000 people at the event. You know,
which and you kind of like lose that, like because like think about it, a course can be like miles and miles long,
right?
You know. And, like, you don't really grasp it,
right?
You know? And
you'll never be able to see it.
Like, think about it. Like, think about how many people you could fit in, like, a couple miles. You can fit 80,000 in, like, a 100-yard football stadium, you know? Like, think about how many you could fit on a golf course. It never really hit me until I read that stat, and I was like, oh, that's crazy. But I'm excited to watch some of the Waste Management throughout the Super Bowl weekend. Anybody got a golfer that they think might win it?
I got 4 golfers, all right? I'm going to start with my best long shot golfers. So that's going to be Ricky, because Ricky won it, I think, back in like 2016 or 2018. Maybe I'm fucking those dates up. And then Tommy Fleetwood too. Love Tommy Fleetwood. He's just like a fan favorite. But my picks are Cam Smith, because I'd love to see an LV golfer win it, and John Rahm, because John Rahm's a king. He hasn't won a lot of stuff recently, and
I think John Rahm is the second or third best odds to win it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, it is a star-studded field. I mean, I think like 23 of the top 24 eligible players in the official world golf ranking are going to be there.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun. It's one of those like it's like a must-watch tournament to like. It's just fun to watch.
How is it blended with live players and?
I actually don't know.
PGA.
Are you sure the live players are playing?
I mean, Cam Smith was all over the articles I read. He's live, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there.
Is this a PGA event, or is this maybe?
Is this a USGA event?
Must be.
Maybe.
It's gotta be.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
There's no other way. If it's not USGA, there's no way that he'd be playing.
I put like wasted management on the same plateau as like the Travelers for me. Because the Travelers is another one of those like really fun tournaments. Like the pros come out and they have a great time because it's a course where you can really score, and obviously like Mohegan Sun, and there's like a lot of big sponsors at that event.
Yeah.
So for a lot of people, it is like it's not the same as the wasted management, but it is a kind of a party, and it's a lot easier to walk the grounds of Travelers because it's a shorter course and it's a lot more condensed together. But I love going to the Travelers, so that's happening like June 22nd to the 25th this year as well.
Travelers is a good time. I don't know. Golf tournaments are not. It's tough because you just don't have that much visibility, and you're kind of like, it's a tiring fucking event to walk around all day because you walk more than you walk fucking. You stand for such a long period of time, and they like it. Just I guess it totally depends on the way you go and do it. I personally, if I would just do a golf tournament, because I went to a number of them last year, but if I was to when I go to a golf tournament, the way I would particularly like to do it is, depending on if I'm going for 1 day or 2 days, but more likely than not, I'm going to try to fucking put myself on the 18th green. Mm-hmm. I think that watching people finish out, it's the only way to guarantee that you're going to see every single player, and those are where the big moments happen. You know, like, I remember when I was at the Open, I went to the fucking... The old course,
the country club.
The country club for the U.S. Open, right? It was the U.S. Open.
I think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was U.S. Open. It was the U.S. Open, and I was on the last hole, the 18th hole, but I was like behind like 5 layers of people, and I remember watching that hole take place, and they give you. I showed you guys those things.
The blue headphone, yeah.
The blue headphone now, so you can kind of keep up to date with it. The biggest moment happened on the green. Because he had a fucking chance. That hole was fucking actually intense.
I remember that.
Had the American won, it would have been fucking people would have gone nuts.
Yeah. I mean, I went to the PGA back in 2018 when it was at Bethpage, and that was a lot of walking. That's a long course. Mm-hmm. Luckily for us, the Travelers, my dad used to work for Mohegan, so we get Mohegan Sun club tickets. So we just stay at we don't walk the course anymore. Back in high school, I didn't have that ability, so you walk the course, you follow your favorite player. But now we just hang out at the Sky Club.
Yeah, I think if I was gonna do it again, I would just go to like a tent. Like I would
It's
go to
worth
a
the
tent
mo-
and I'd post up and
yeah.
drink and just have fun and like go watch a couple things and just have fun.
Yeah.
You can spend some time out chasing players, but you got to have a place that you can go back to.
Yes.
That's the
exactly.
problem. Like if you spend like the first bit of the day just kind of like walking around, having some fun, you know what I mean? That's fine. But there comes a point where if you don't have a place to go back to that has a view of what's going on, you're just going to get lost in the noise.
And
There's
that's
just
like
so many people.
And like the argument for me is like walking the grounds at Travelers for one day, I think is like $65 now or something like that. The Mohegan Sun Club is like 170 or something, and you get free drinks and free food. So like why not just spend the 170, get your free drinks and your free food, and you have a place to go back to?
Yeah, I'd probably
and you have like an eagle eye view of probably a popular place on the course.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Spend the
with that.
money; it's worth it.
Yeah, so Waste Management this weekend is pretty much the preview heading right into Super Bowl Sunday. Super Bowl 57, I believe, between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. I think I mentioned it last week, but I am officially locked in with my bet. I am Eagles -1.5. I don't know. I like the Birds. Go Birds.
All right, everybody. Public announcement: the Eagles are going to lose by at least enough to cover Andrew's spread. So if you're looking to make as much money as you want, basically, as much as you're willing to risk, just hedge Colucci.
Hedge Colucci.
That's all you got to do.
Fade me. Bet responsibly.
I'm going Birds win 37-34.
Wow, good game.
Yeah.
And that would cover the over.
So if anyone bets on the 37-34 and you win, I will expect a Venmo from you shortly thereafter.
Do you know how much you get for guessing the correct score inside? It's insane.
Not
How
a
much?
fucking clue.
Probably like plus 20,000, like 20-1, 30-1, something like that.
Great. So
Really?
take 30% off
To
the
guess
top.
the exact score?
30%.
That comes to Will.
To guess the exact score? Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like,
It's impossible.
yeah, that's a pretty brutal.
Because
thing
you have to
try
pick
guess.
who wins the game, first of all, and then pick the exact score.
Do we know if Patrick Mahomes is injured?
He's fine. He's
Is he
he's
really?
been practicing all week. He's fine. Yeah, it's because the Super Bowl, there's a 2-week gap.
Oh, right. They've had so much time to heal.
Pretty much a lot of their guys are getting healthy now.
What about Kelsey?
He's fine. He's playing.
Great.
It's going to be
Wow, that totally changes how I feel about it.
both teams
Totally
are like almost
changes.
at even strength. The Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers like Juju and Tony, I believe, and McCole Hardman. Oh, I think McCole Hardman's going to be out, but they are a little bit questionable right now. But again, with that 2-week gap, they should be full strength.
I know, right? We still have like a full week not a full
Yeah.
week, but we still have like 4 days, right? Until
Yeah.
So it's like, it's crazy to think because I remember last week when we were talking about it, like the big question was like, because in last game, both Mahomes and Travis and Kelsey and
we're playing hurt.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like and he had a high ankle sprain,
Which only gets worse if you keep playing.
right,
on it.
right.
So I don't know I don't know what kind of, I mean, they also probably have the best physical trainers and doctors in the freaking world working for those teams. So
Yeah.
like, I'm sure they'll be
They'll
okay.
get him they get those guys on regimens too. Like they ice.
Oh my God.
And even just like do the correct stretching and icing just over and over and over
Mhm.
again every single day. Like I think you'd be surprised at how fast you can heal. You know?
Yeah. And so I'm excited for both teams to be full strength. I think it's going to be a freaking amazing Super Bowl. Who's doing the halftime? Rihanna is
Yep.
doing halftime. So I think that'll be a good show.
A little bummed out the Bills are not in the Super Bowl right now.
Yeah.
Really wanted to see the Bills fucking. If it's not the Patriots, it's the Bills.
Yeah.
I think
I was rooting Bills.
Bills Eagles would have been great because it's
Yeah.
two crazy fan bases.
Yup.
Like insane
That would have
fan
been nuts.
bases going to Arizona and just ripping up the city. Like it'd be amazing.
Yeah, those two teams would be great. I feel like it's kind of. I feel like the Eagles have been sneaky, just so good.
Yeah.
Like I don't like. There's a lot of teams that get so much credit. Like KC's one of them. The Bills honestly have been one of them with Josh Allen. and
Yeah, the
everything.
Bills get a ton of hype and they haven't even gone to the Super Bowl with Josh Allen
I
yet.
know.
Like so like a lot of people are like, "Well, how
Wait,
going
is that
on?"
right?
With
Am I
Josh
tripping right
Allen,
now?
they have not gone to the Super Bowl yet.
Really?
No, they keep losing in the AFC Championship or the divisional weekend. They have not gone to the Super Bowl with Josh Allen yet.
Fuck.
So like
God
all
damn
this
it.
hype is, I mean,
They're still good teams
Chill
to
out.
watch.
the Eagles just quietly killed everybody.
They quietly just nobody was talking about the Eagles
Right.
all the way. Everybody was like, and there were so many teams that we were like, oh my God, dude, they might be sick. Like the Vikings were fucking
Yeah.
like they were, and then they got exposed.
They just got humiliated.
Same with the Giants. The Giants for a little bit were like starting to heat up, and then again,
and then
exposed.
people were like, oh, I think the Giants are going to upset the Eagles in the playoffs, and the Eagles embarrassed them.
Yeah.
Like just humiliated them. And then 49ers, I think, were going to be good, but they lost all their quarterbacks.
Who
what
was?
are you going to
Yeah, yeah.
do? Like, what are you going to do? And Joe Burrow and the Bengals were getting a ton
Joe
of
Burrow
hype.
was getting hyped up this season.
And then nothing, So, anyways, on to the Super Bowl. I have a couple cool props that I want to propose. Any quarterback to have a reception, so a quarterback to catch the ball on a trick play or something, pays 14-1 odds. Love that bet. Any quarterback to have a receiving touchdown plus 36-1 odds. So, like, if they do, like, the Philly special, like the Eagles did to us in the Super Bowl, did to the Patriots where they did the trick play. But those are my two, like, crazy props. But I want to ask you guys some other props. National anthem, over, under, 2 minutes, 7 seconds.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Over under 2 minutes, 7 seconds.
It's to the last note. So it's of the free. Oh no,
I'm gonna go over.
At the end of Brave, it's as soon as Brave ends.
Over.
Over 2 minutes, 7 seconds. Josh, over under 2 minutes and 7 seconds.
Who's singing it?
Chris Stapleton.
Oh, that's gonna be a
is
good one.
singing
Actually,
the national anthem.
love Chris Stapleton.
So Josh, what's your over under?
I was trying to like look him up. I just need
It's
to like
cheating.
I need to like look.
You
at
don't know
this
who
man's
Chris
face.
Stapleton is?
No.
Tennessee whiskey starting over.
I can take one look at the guy's face and know if he's gonna go over or under.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just need literally one look.
A lot of people take this bet very seriously.
Oh, he's going over.
He's going over.
Yeah. That's out.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because if you listen to a lot of his songs, like they are like slower paced.
I don't even need to bet the house on it.
Okay. Coin toss. Heads or tails?
Tails.
Heads.
I hope you keep track of these.
Tails. I will be keeping track of
Okay.
these. Will any field goal or extra point hit one of the crossbars?
No.
No.
You would be that. It's minus 650. If any of them hit them, plus 350, plus 350. Will there be a scoregami? Do you know what a scoregami is?
No, sir.
Scoregami is a unique score that has never happened before. So if it's like 3-2 or something like that, or like some crazy like 62-58 is probably a scoregami.
Based on my prediction, I have to say no here.
Yeah, 37-34 has definitely been a score before.
Yeah.
Josh, scoregami? Yes, no?
No.
No. It pays like minus 6,000. All right.
I say yes then.
Yeah, that means it's good.
Are you putting in bets
plus
on our behalf,
18-1.
Yeah.
I might. 18-1.
You should put some bets in on our behalf. I would love that.
We'll hit the lab together.
I don't actually have anywhere to bet. So
Yeah, I don't think I've betted on sports my entire life, but
I have done. Oh, dude, I feel like I might have some money in my Bovada account from like when I was
Now
like
it's legal in
15.
Massachusetts.
Bovada is?
Online sports betting. Bovada is legal everywhere.
Right, but it's the
It's
payouts.
offshore.
It's
Yeah.
the payouts.
Yeah.
And Mass, you're saying I can. We're not in Mass.
You can drive. It's all geolocation.
so it's just driving to North Attleboro.
You can literally that's literally what you can do. That's what people in New York do. They drive over the bridge into New Jersey, bet, and then drive back.
I guess if I was just like to go to Izumi or something, I would just place my bets when I was out there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow. Wait. So what would I do that through? DraftKings? You're saying?
DraftKings is alive now.
Holy
I don't know
shit,
if
that's
I don't know
nuts.
if they're gonna have the Super Bowl. It's there's some weird stuff going on with Massachusetts legislation with online sports gambling. But my final prop that I want to propose is the jersey number of the first touchdown scorer over under 11.5.
Over.
I'm gonna guess under because I think Jalen Hurts is gonna run one in. He's number 1.
I'll go with the under as well.
Okay, yeah, because you have AJ Brown, Juju, Jalen Hurts. So there's a lot of guys under 11.5. That could be a great pick for there.
That actually sounds like a good bet.
Yeah, the under actually
it was
pays-
under what?
The under is favored 11.5.
Oh, that's so tough because I would. I feel
Kelsey
like I
could
was
get
just,
it.
Yeah. Oh, can he?
Yeah, Kelsey's number 87. So
That's a
he's
bet
over
that I would
11
take
and a
right
half.
now. I would take that bet if you gave me.
What
some
would you take, the over or the under? It's minus 140 for under, plus 100 for over.
I would
So
definitely
it
take the
pays
under.
1-1 for over, pays risk 14 to win 10.
It doesn't matter about the odds. I think the odds are in the favor. If you got Kelsey, Juju, and
No. Kelsey is over. Kelsey is 87.
Fuck. Oh, so that does make it
The under, you get Juju.
Oh, you're right.
AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, and I believe Boston Scott, but I'm not sure.
You have to send me these because when I watch it, I'm
agree.
gonna want to be like going through this. I think it'll make
agree.
it more interesting
I
for
need
me.
to. I gotta get some bets in. I gotta get some bets
I'll let you hop on some bets.
Well, I also might do that fucking Massachusetts thing.
Yeah, I want to just make sure that DraftKings is actually offering gambling on the Super Bowl in Massachusetts.
They better. What the fuck? They better.
They just started. It's wild. All the loops that they've had to jump through. And
They're gonna have some problems hearing from my attorney if they don't.
You can also just bet through the Rhode Island Sportsbook as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
This guy is gonna go 5 minutes over the fucking or the land of the. I mean,
It's pretty close.
Is that not how he sounds?
Yeah, I mean, he's very like a deep, like I don't know, you don't listen to a lot of country, but he's got a very deep throated, like Josh Turner-y voice.
I don't even know how like some guy with a 16-foot long beard and hair who sings country music can even sing faster than like 4 BPM or 20. You know, like I think, I just don't see it.
Yeah, it's a slow song to begin with.
It's a slow song to begin with, and then you got this guy who's basically living in the outback. I mean, there's no way he's going to come up there unless he's a folk
go
singer.
listen to Tennessee Whiskey after this podcast, and it'll reinstate your confidence that it'll go over.
Because there's no how do you even sing a country song fast? I feel like you'd have to be in that folk country, like
You have to be like like bluegrass or like a contemporary country. Yeah.
Can you sing a contemporary country song for me right now, Will?
Me?
Yeah, yeah. Just give me
Tennessee Whiskey.
Oh my
That's
God,
slow.
that's
Oh my
golden.
God, your voice is beautiful.
That's
Well, no,
golden.
go again, but try to sing me a fast one. I don't want to hear a slow one.
I don't really know a fast one. Like
Wagon Wheel?
there's a song called I guess Darius Rucker. There's a song that like Hardy just came out with called shit, I'm blanking on the name. I literally listened to it on my way into work today. But it's like a rock country song.
Okay.
It's like contemporary country. So like him, like Morgan Wallen's kind of contemporary too. So like there's a couple Morgan Wallen songs that are fast paced.
Yeah.
Can you give me a go?
No. Sing in my shower, that's it. And in the car with Marissa.
Tennessee Whiskey.
Voice of an angel out here. You know what a lot of people do is they'll try to sneak into the stadium when they're doing the rehearsal national anthem, and they'll time it.
That's epic.
And then they'll release it, and like then the odds change significantly on
Really?
the over under. Yeah, because once it goes public and like someone tweets it and starts getting some traction, odds makers.
Who do
will adjust
I
the odds.
look at? That
Just be on Twitter like about 2 hours before the game.
really?
Yeah, you'll
You
find
should
it.
just stand outside of the stadium, hurl your iPhone over the wall,
no, that's
over the
literally-
stadium,
that's
and then
literally what
listen
they
to
do.
the live listening through your AirPods.
That's
I mean,
literally what people do.
Otterbox
wild.
Defender.
That's wild. That was a
Defender
stretch.
series, dude.
They literally freaking will camp out like right outside the stadium where they can hear what's going on inside, and they're doing the mic checks and rehearsals for the national anthem, and they'll time it.
That's crazy.
People do it all the time.
That's
for every
some
Super Bowl.
degeneracy right there.
Hey, it's called getting an edge.
Now, if you bet now, though, you get the same odds, right?
If you bet now, you're gonna get the odds what they are right now because you don't know. But you could also probably just go look, like, has Chris Stapleton ever sung the national anthem before? What's his time? Like, start doing some
what's his time?
research.
What's his time, Doc?
But that's going to wrap up the Super Bowl. I'm very excited for the game. And commercials, should be some fire commercials.
I'm excited about that.
I've already
Yep.
seen a couple. There was a Breaking Bad popcorn.
Oh, I saw that on TikTok.
Yeah, that was really funny. So
I've never even seen Breaking Bad, and I know that scene. So it was-
Will, you've never seen Breaking Bad?
no.
What the fuck, dude?
You know what?
that's actually insane.
That's crazy
I
because
wanna-
that's like so your show, dude. That's like of all the shows you tell me about, Breaking Bad is your business.
I
dude.
know, but it was kind of like the Game of Thrones esque like point. It was like I was just so sick of hearing people talk about it that I just refused to watch it. Eventually, I'll crack. Like it took me like probably 5 years to crack on Game of Thrones, or 4 years or something.
Will.
It took until the 6th season of Game of Thrones for me to crack.
I watched Breaking Bad, and I remember when I watched it, I said, "This is probably in contention for the greatest show of all time."
Yeah, I'd say so.
Breaking Bad is, dude, there's some shows that like, I was so into when I watched those episodes, I was so invested mentally into it that I started to live the life of a meth dealer. Like I literally was like fucking having panic attacks at night, like waiting for the fucking popo to knock my door down. Like it was wild.
Yeah, I mean, I know I would like it because there was an interview with Bryan Cranston about how like Walter White could walk, but he couldn't fly without Tony from The Sopranos. Like he kind of set the stage for that character development where like you love him and you hate him. And, Bryan Cranston admits like literally like, I don't know that we would have had Breaking Bad without The Sopranos. Yeah. I fucking love The Sopranos.
If you're watching The Sopranos, you have to watch Breaking Bad. My dad is not one to like binge shows. He doesn't like binge watching. He watched a couple episodes of Breaking Bad, fell in love, watched the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, Marissa's watched it. You know, if we really ever run out of shows, it's something.
And then there's a show to watch on top of that. And by the way, we are fully into what are we watching now? But there's a show, but Better Call Saul.
I've seen Better Call Saul.
What?
Yeah, I have. I have seen the first 2 seasons of Better Call Saul.
That makes no sense.
No sense.
Well, when did Better Call Saul come out? Like 2017?
After Breaking Bad.
Way after.
Yeah, I know that, but like when I was in college, like I didn't have any streaming services, so like I really didn't have the ability to watch that much TV. So
technically,
when
Better
I
Call
graduated,
Saul takes place before Breaking Bad.
Right,
so
it's a prequel that came out after Breaking Bad.
Except for the black and white scenes. That's post Breaking Bad. Yeah, I actually haven't even watched Better Call Saul.
Watching Better Call Saul after Breaking Bad though is awesome because all the references they make way more sense.
Right.
And The Last of Us episode 4. Did we all watch it?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was a good ep, but it was definitely like not like nothing crazy. I didn't think anything crazy happened, to be honest with you. I like you said last week how like Joel's being a dick to Ellie.
Yeah, that would be my only call out on this episode.
Now,
really,
I guess they're kind of starting to become a little more friendly towards the end of the episode, so I like that.
I got Joel to laugh.
I knew that was part of what they were doing story wise. Is like they started him out and he's just like a dick the whole way. He hates the world, hates the way everything is. Everybody's dying around him. He's fucking burying children. It's just like a depressing ass fucking thing. I was actually glad to see an episode that wasn't so goddamn depressing too.
Yeah.
Like,
it was a big character development episode, I feel like.
Big time.
Yep.
It is interesting though that it's funny because when we watch The Walking Dead, the one thing we know about The Walking Dead is that the zombies are not the biggest enemy.
No.
The zombies are like basically when someone gets reckless. In that world, you should never ever die from a zombie.
In The Walking Dead.
In The Walking Dead. Unless you're asleep and you get tagged. But other than that, dude, like, no way. And in The Last of Us, that's how I have kind of always imagined it to be more like, is that it's just like, there's different shows. I used to watch this show called The Colony on Discovery. Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of that?
Is it with Lori from The Walking Dead? Does she play one of the characters?
I'm not sure. They're not characters so much. It's a live act. It's one of the craziest shows I've ever watched. They basically put these people in a real life survival scenario where they had like all kinds of things and they made them survive for like 100 days or something like that. And in the 100 days, they build things like literally like airboats and fucking, like solar powered fucking energy field based on like resources, but they get attacked by marauders. And so like the marauders come in and they steal their shit all along the way and there's nothing they can do about it. And it's like to emulate what it would really be like to survive in that type of situation. And in The Last of Us, I've seen it in video gameplay, and I've also seen it now in this episode, is that the people are going to be the biggest fucking problem, I think.
Yep, the Raiders and the fucking
because that was crazy.
The power crazy people. Because it seemed, from what I got from that episode, they were at a DMZ or like they were at like a
Fedra
like
headquarters,
and it seems like
QZ,
the rebels took it over.
Yep,
that's what I'm gathering from that. And I think on next week's episode we're gonna find out how it happened and then what's happening at nighttime. So like it's gonna be sick. I'm very excited for it.
Here's a question for you guys: if you were in that situation, do you think it's better to restart civilization or your immediate civilization in a major city or in the woods?
I would go woods, just based on the person that I am. I don't like the city as it is. So.
I think the city, there's so much more things. Like if you can find a way to clean the city up, like some of the infrastructure is there that you could build off of. Like there's pipes in the ground and there's
Sewage
structures and
yeah.
buildings and sewage and water and gas lines and all that stuff. Like you can try to rebuild some of that stuff and make it work again. If you go in the woods, what are you gonna freaking do? Start building pipes? Like it's not gonna work.
That's true, Andrew. But then again, there's no fucking zombies in the woods.
Yeah.
But you do have to worry about, like, just in that last episode, you have to worry about other people more so.
Yeah,
than
like
the
when they were
zombies.
sleeping in the woods. That was
Okay, so
scary.
let me
That scene, I was like, how the fuck can you sleep right now?
if you're not having somebody stay awake and doing shifts, you're an arrogant asshole because
Yeah.
they were being under attack by everybody. But here's my question then. Okay, forget the woods. Like I was saying, the woods objectively, like the woods. But what if we look at the suburban neighborhood? How they were able to lock down the neighborhood in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
And
Would
the-
you
in the
rather
previous
stay
one.
there or go to
Well, where would you rather start to build? Because he's saying there's like pipes and infrastructure, but to run city infrastructure, it takes the masses. It takes a tremendous amount of fucking people. Whereas like a neighborhood, that's all those sewage systems and, you know, like the electrical systems, like as you saw with our boy, he was able to fuck with that stuff just as one man. So it's like if you had like, and there are neighborhoods in this country that are like, especially in LA, where, you know, there are fucking thousands and thousands of houses that share the streets, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you could find like a suburban neighborhood, like your neighborhood is a great example, or your like street would be a great example. Andrew's in the woods, but each house is, there are different like little like tucked away like neighborhoods of like 50 houses or something like that.
Yeah.
So would you rather do like that where you spread out humanity over those types of land masses, or would you rather commit to city like rebuilding from a city?
I also think the issue with the city is somebody who's going to try to control it. Like,
yeah.
And it's going to get corrupt real fast.
Bill and Frank. I'm going the Bill and Frank way.
Bill and
Yeah.
Frank way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like in The Walking Dead, the civilization that they stay in the longest is Alexandria, which is just a little neighborhood. And they just like built a big wall around it. And like
Right.
that's their like civilization. So I guess I would go neighborhood.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
think-
Even
I
though like
think-
a city is gonna have, I don't know. I just don't trust the people in the city. I think someone's gonna take it over and like go crazy.
Yeah, because I was thinking about when I was watching the show, and I was like, everyone's in this city, like it's the way to go. And then I thought about it, and I was like, but when you look back at the previous episode, there was the only thing they had to defend against was a bunch of fucking like B-list marauders. You know what I mean? And one person was able to do that. If you had legitimately like a security system set up and building a wall around a neighborhood and shit, you could lock down. Because you can always add more.
Yeah,
Like
I think the being in a city just opens you up to way more weakness.
Yeah,
Like,
100%.
It really puts your weak spots out there.
Exactly, Will. Because you know what I was thinking about too? When they drive into the city in this episode, right? They were just in the colony? Like they just drove right into the
who
center
knows?
of this entire way of life. Like how are zombies not walking in at will? I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
There was no defense mechanism set up.
Well, because they took it over. The rebels took it over.
I know, but what I'm saying is that the drive, they didn't even stack some cars next to each other to be like to block off walkers.
Yeah, because they
To the
did,
QZ,
they did
yeah.
drive right by the front gate of the QZ. I was
Yeah.
like, how'd they get that?
They just got into the middle and the heart of the whole thing. And I was like thinking to myself, based on what I've seen in different things, like these zombies are not to be fucked with. So you're going to let them waltz right in at any time. And you got two guys in a fucking, with whatever, like car 98s from World War II, like shooting off. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
I also feel like it's colder wherever they are. So maybe potentially,
They were in KC in that episode.
yeah, so maybe the infected can't live in that cold weather. I'm not
ooh,
sure.
that's not a bad point, Clutch.
I'm not
Possible.
sure.
They migrated south for the winter.
I still don't fully understand that. That's the whole only thing about their explanation I don't get is they said if the climate was warmer, that this bacteria or this fungi would be able to survive. But the thing that's always confusing and still confuses me about that is that what about temperatures that are cold?
Well,
the rainforest is the only place
the
that-
human body is still 97 degrees. That's the issue.
Right, but those fungi, they survive only in the jungle. They don't exist outside the jungle.
Yeah, it did. The outbreak started in the what's the country that it started in? It wasn't India. It was
Indonesia?
wasn't-
Malaysia?
I think it was Malaysia.
It was one of those, I think.
Yeah, like it's very hot climate.
Right, which those stay like that year round. But like in a place like Boston, I feel like that fungi would never be able to survive.
Yeah.
Because the fungi has to exist on its own before it gets to its host. It gets to the host by spreading its spores.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if it's like 50 degrees, if it's like 20 degrees out, all living things fucking die, as we know, being from New
including
England.
humans.
Yeah. We die a little bit every year when winter comes around, or a lot. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but that stuff makes my brain hurt too much. I just like watching the zombie show. And episode 5 is actually coming out Friday night instead of Sunday because of the Super Bowl, which is interesting because
Thursday night?
Friday night.
That's awesome.
Just last
Good
year,
timing.
Euphoria went against the Super Bowl, and Euphoria saw one of their most streamed episodes ever during the Super Bowl.
Is that because the whole family was already together?
I think it was because I'm assuming a lot of females watch Euphoria, maybe not as much watch the Super Bowl, so they probably left during the Super Bowl. Like, they didn't care about shutting the Super Bowl off to watch the new
crazy.
episode of Euphoria.
Fair point. Yeah.
They had 5.1 million concurrent watchers on that episode of Euphoria that they aired in the same time as the Super Bowl, which I thought was crazy. The Last of Us is not even going to try to stand up to the Super Bowl. They're just saying, fuck it. We're
Well, the
gonna air Friday.
demographics
Probably a lot differently.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I watched that episode of Euphoria after the Super Bowl, but I watched it that night.
Another show I've never watched.
Yeah, me neither.
I watched like
It's
one
wild.
episode of it, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit?
It's wild.
Kaluji's watching it like he's like clapping his hands and he watched it like, oh.
Lights a
I
candle.
yeah.
I freaking love Euphoria. But I will say one thing. Poker Face is amazing. I watched all 5 episodes that are out right now in one sitting on Sunday.
So now you've got Poker Face on Thursday this week, and then The Last of Us on Friday,
and then
Super Bowl and the Waste Management. It's
Yeah.
a big weekend for TV.
You guys have not been on Physical 100 yet.
You
but
keep
it's
talking
it's
about
getting
it, and
so
I'm
hot
not.
right now.
I mean, like, this is the thing is, like, Marissa and I we're the same in a lot of ways. You know, same music. We wanted to do the same thing for our wedding, and we both ironically enough, have ADHD, so we hyper fixate on things. So if we're not watching The Last of Us or Poker Face, we're supplementing The Sopranos in the meantime. So, like, if we've got like
Committed.
1 or 2 shows already, like, we can't commit to another one.
Right, that makes sense.
So what I will say though, I don't know if you guys have any more recommendations, but what I will say before we close out the segment, there's a new show on Apple TV called Shrinking, and it was written by Jason Segel, and it's got a few other big names in it too. I'm blanking on this other guy's name, but Harrison Ford, he's in it too.
Hey, isn't Haley Steinfeld in it?
Potentially.
Okay.
I didn't look at the
Okay,
whole
sorry.
cast list. It dropped at the end of January, so I think there's like 4 or 5 episodes out. But it's a comedy drama. It's got a 79% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 7.7 on IMDb. So I think it's worth a watch. Jason Segel's hilarious. He's in it. And we don't have Apple TV right now because we canceled it right after Severance ended. But once Severance 2, if there's more news updates on that, we'll probably get it back and start knocking Shrinking off as well.
Yeah, I'm out on Apple TV.
They raised their prices too.
Yeah, and it was just one of the subscriptions I just didn't want. Like, I wanted to get Peacock Premium so I could watch a couple things, so I canceled Apple TV. Fuck Apple TV.
Yeah. When Severance 2 comes out, I'll pay for it until it's been watched.
Yeah, Severance 2 is, I can't fucking wait for it. There's a bunch of shows too that are on the verge of coming out. Oh, the golf show is actually this week.
Oh, right. That's February 15th.
Yeah.
Wow, I forgot about that.
You know what I didn't know is that it's actually the makers of Formula One, Drive to Survive. So that's like one of my favorite shows ever. So they actually made the golf show, which I know gives me the opinion already that it's been well produced and well created.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a great show.
I can't wait to see how they can make it look cool or not. I know that they did a good job with tennis. It was fucking hype with tennis.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like with golf, this is such a dramatic season with the live-in stuff. So, like, if they don't make this season good, then they just suck at their jobs because there's been no fucking year of golf that's been more entertaining than this past year.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's gonna.
It's going to be drama-filled.
Drama-filled.
Out of the park.
It needs to flow too is the biggest thing because that's always been the problem with golf is that it takes a long time to play and it takes an even longer time to watch.
Yeah.
So you need it to fucking you got to get, which I'm excited to see because I think that's the best way that golf can be portrayed is when you do it like focusing on the personalities and the drama. and flowing around.
I'm gonna probably binge watch that starting Monday next week.
Yeah, it depends on how. If it fucking grabs me, I'll go through. I mean, I'll probably watch it. I don't know how fast I'll be able to watch it, just because I imagine them being long episodes. Like
Probably, yeah.
You know what I mean?
An hour over.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Josh, got anything else?
Yeah, I got my Africa stuff I want to do.
Okay, yeah. Let's roll into
I know.
our next
How are we doing
segment.
on time right now?
50 minutes.
50. We're okay.
All right. Okay.
Show and tell.
So, for anybody listening, my brother went to Africa for 50 days. And in the process of going to Africa, he went to multiple different countries. I didn't know this because I'm just an idiot, but Africa is a continent, not a fucking country. So, so to all you that end up hearing this, I want to apologize for my ignorance and my stupidity. But point is, he went to a bunch of different countries within Africa. Ghana, Egypt, Tanzania, which is where the safaris are, like the best safaris some of the best safaris in the world.
Nigeria, right?
He went to Nigeria, and if you guys have any questions about any of the above, like I have all the information that he gave me, I can give you updates on what his experience was, verbatim from me, not from him. And I have some little things to show you guys that are pretty cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, sick.
Okay, so I'll start with the show and tell. The first thing that I brought in is a necklace that was handmade in the middle of Africa. Andrew, you can hold on to it. It has marble beads on it, and it's the continent of Africa. And then in between is a symbol that is like basically some fear. It's like kind of like a spiritual / religious thing of like, it's the symbol of Ghana. And I think it means like
Pretty heavy.
all good men fear God or something.
The beads are very, very heavy and they feel very good.
Yeah. Because I thought they would be like those like
GBs, yeah.
Wood has a nature of being so light that it sometimes feels cheap, you know? So that was like
That's some quality goods right there.
It is. I actually really like that one. That was like something that I wanted something like that would be a piece of jewelry or something. This little guy was hand carved in somewhere.
I like that.
Is this an emu?
I think it is. For anybody that's listening, you should definitely watch. Go follow our social medias right now because you can see a clip of everything we're going through.
I bought a lot of little things like that when I went to Peru for a month.
I think it's a cool little thing. I think it's like a dope little guy.
That's not an emu, by the way. I don't know.
That's Puma and Timon. That's Timon.
It's like a little prairie dog or something.
Yeah.
I was so wrong.
Yeah, that's a Timon.
It's cute. Something for your desk.
Yeah. So the last thing.
A meerkat.
Meerkat. Which is what Timon is. Now, the last thing that I brought in is a little bit, it has two pieces to it. What part of it is an experience, and then part of it is just like an item. But so when Micah was in Egypt, and Egypt in and of its nature is apparently like the wildest place on earth. Like the way that Egypt functions is unlike anywhere else in the world. And it's like an alternate world, like Mars type feel when he went there. And inside the Egyptian pyramids, when they discovered all of the pharaohs and whatnot, each pharaoh had a different thing within their tomb. So like all kinds of things, like all kinds of crazy stuff. And one of the things that they lived for in Egypt, and I guess still do, is the value of scents and different smelling things. I don't know what you would term that out as, but they really knew their shit. And so what I have for you is when they discovered the tomb of Ramses, whatever it is.
You're close, regardless.
Yeah. The smell is controversial because this was the mother. They think that this is the motherfucker that enslaved, the Jewish population to build the pyramids, which they also deny when you go to the country. Apparently, they deny all accounts of all slavery. Egypt is a weird place because it's now been taken over by so many different things, like entities. So, like right now, it's more Middle Eastern than it is Egyptian. You know what I mean? The culture is so slashed, and it's a big place. But so this is actually the scent that this isn't not the actual bottle, but this is the scent that was found in Ramses' tomb. So it survived thousands of years, and they believe that it basically brought them, it was like good smells were next to godliness or something like that. I don't know. But this smell is wild.
Am I supposed to open this?
You can if you want. Yeah.
Or can I just...
You just remove the...
Glitchy, come on. Ah, shit. It's got all over me.
You're cursed.
Yeah, so you can smell it. And there's actually an oil, so there's myrrh in there, so you can actually you can put a little bit of it on your hands, and if you rub your hands together really
It smells good. I mean,
I think it smells great.
So that is like here's the crazy part. What you're smelling right now is it's basically the evolution of cologne. So,
I was going to say, it kind of smells like a cologne.
Yeah, so there are components in that are in many, if not all, colognes. And the Egyptians, however many in ancient Egypt, had it figured out long before fucking anybody else did. So you just got to experience
the first cologne.
Yeah, the first colognes ever made, to
is
our
that
knowledge.
is the intended use of that bottle specifically to use as a cologne, or is it just for a smelling purpose?
I don't know fully. I think that I don't really know that they know. I mean, you could hypothetically like put it on, but they're weird. Like it's a weird thing in Egypt where I guess they really believe that these scents were like entered you into the next life. They're so symbolism apparently in Egypt is like bigger than anywhere else. Like they lived for symbolism. So like these were symbolic in some way, shape, or form. And that's that motherfucker Ramses.
Wow, very cool, very cool.
The meerkat is my favorite thing you brought in. The meerkat. Is
you like the
freaking
meerkat?
awesome.
I do like the
Freaking
meerkat.
awesome.
I do like the scent though too.
The scent.
I'm just
nice.
getting into colognes now, so
Really?
yeah. Marissa got me like a cologne gift set for Christmas.
There were other pharaohs that he brought back. So it was like King Tut. They brought back his cologne or his fucking scent or whatever. Each one of them smells different, but I can tell you that's not something you would want to wear out to a bar. You don't want to do it. They're so fucking strong. The other day, he made me do the thing where I rub my hands together and your hands get tingly and all hot. It's kind of like a high sensation, and my hands smelled for 2 days. It's fucking sucked. I hate that smell.
It's like after you cut garlic, all you can smell on your fingers is garlic for the next 24 hours.
Yeah. So.
With that, I think we're going to wrap up T-Box Talk episode 42. Thank you so much for joining in today. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the waste management. Great weekend of just sitting on your ass and doing nothing coming up. I'm very excited
Very
for
exciting.
it. Josh and Will, thank you so much for participating. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Check out our YouTube to check out all the things that Josh brought in from Africa and Egypt. It was awesome to see all that stuff. Check out our social medias at Omada Golf and at T-Box Talk Pod, both on Instagram and TikTok. Hop on our email list at omadagolf.com. We have launched our new website, Omada Golf 2.0. The hats will probably be for sale within the next week or so. So get on our email list so you can get them when they land. Well, they have landed, but when they're ready to get shipped, we'll be selling them. Also, pre-sales will be starting soon on our golf bags and our rangefinder, the Atlas. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a wonderful weekend. Go
See
Eagles.
ya.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. Go Birds.